right, week one in the books. Episode 4, we're back. Overreacting, underreacting, helping ourselves where we need to in all of our reactions with this. Um, Dom is on vacation. That's the little bit different setup there.
Yeah.
Nice little ocean in the background there. Can't see it because it's dark, but it's there. All right, let's jump in. I think this was the most fun game to watch of the weekend. Kept everybody on their toes till the end there. Literally, no pun intended. Um, Kansas City, Baltimore. I'm just going to start off by saying horribly officiated game. Just
Okay.
battle through and through. Uh, 5 total illegal formation penalties against Baltimore in that, and then 1 called all day on Sunday. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not really sure what we were doing there. Don't know if it was a point of emphasis or it was just that crew wanted to cause problems. The 3 straight on Ronnie Stanley was ridiculous to me. He was lost by the end of that too. Just didn't know where he was supposed to line up at that point. Uh, the roughing the passer was soft, to say the least. I had a buddy text me during that and goes, oh, I forgot you're not allowed to touch Mahomes. We're getting into, a little bit of that Brady territory with that at this point. And then
Exactly.
the late hit on Mahomes was pretty weak too, going out of bounds and barely stepped out of bounds at that point. Just kind of somebody fell into him. I forget even who it was at that point. Regardless, they still had a chance to win that game twice. In the moment, I was very mad at Lamar for missing Zay Flowers, but after the game, they talked about it. They just kind of both read it a little bit differently from where they were at. Lamar thought he was just going to kind of sit down there, and then Flowers wanted to get just another couple steps of separation. Um, you can see they were both frustrated about it, but knew that they were both thinking the other thing in the moment. Flowers had a smile on his face a little bit there, which was just kind of like I should have had that one. And then obviously the likely catch at the end with his toes on the line. That was
Yeah.
the peak of my elation, and then just kind of stared at the TV for the next 6 minutes. Just like, this is how this is ending. Uh, but regardless, I think Baltimore looked good in this. Lamar did a little bit of everything. Part of that with the O line just needs a little bit of work yet, just to get into a rhythm with each other. 3 new guys on it. I'm not overly concerned about that. Baltimore always is good in the trenches on both sides, and the defense is always good. Um, and then the other takeaway, just in terms of Baltimore, that I noticed is that Trent Simpson is going to have to get better. Um, like I said before, I think the Patrick Queen loss was a little overblown um, with them. However, he was at least good enough to take some pressure off of Roquan Smith. Um, and Roquan Smith covered all of Queen's deficiencies too. There was one play I saw, I think it might have been the Worthy touchdown, where there's blockers running downhill and there's 3 of them making a beeline for Roquan, and he's just kind of getting put into a blender. And then I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Rashee Rice came over then too and just kind of finished the block and was like, "You got 4 guys coming at him. Everybody's looking for him on every play." Um,
Yeah.
so he's just going to need a little bit of help to kind of be able to create some space and be as good as he is. And then on the other side of it with Chiefs, god damn, they're scary. Like, last year was the year for everybody to kind of take advantage of a down year. Worthy looked fantastic. Mahomes is going to make it work with anyone, just regardless. Um, they're just, until otherwise noted, they're the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, by far. I mean, they kind of proved that this week still with how their offense just kind of runs and doesn't stop running. I mean, I'll pat myself on the back and say Pacheco was really a non-factor in the game besides that one touchdown run he had, which was, what, a half a yard out. And then
Yeah.
outside of that, it was just all pass all day. And it's not like the Ravens secondary is bad. You guys have a good secondary, and they just tore it up. They torched it. So it's just until people realize how to stop Mahomes, he's just gonna keep doing what he does, and we can't do much about it.
Yeah, I'd like to get Ed Reed back in the room there since, he was
Yeah,
taking said he would be able to figure him out, which, again, people getting mad at him for saying that. It's like,
that's
you
hilarious.
don't
It's so
remember
funny.
how good he was. Like,
Yeah.
Brady and Manning feared him. Like, he was one of one when it came to that. Just a freak. So let's get him in there and coach some of these guys up for sure. Yeah, I mean, on the bright side with this game too is, especially after the game and watching the games on Sunday, I feel much much better about Baltimore.
Oh yeah,
Is that
100%.
like I think they looked really good. However, like, they had some missed opportunities at different spots for sure as well,
Yeah.
and they still could have won that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, like,
I
I
mean,
don't know if
it's
we're going to see anybody play them tougher. At least not from what I saw this week.
yeah. I mean, it's week one. You got a lot of rust to shake off. Better
Yeah,
balls ahead. You just gotta play the long game and hope for the best.
yeah,
Nothing's perfect right now.
yeah. And next week, what we got? Cincy KC. So it's a win-win for me, no matter what. Either I don't have to hear about Joe Burrow anymore, or either they get thumped, or
I mean, they're
it's
probably
like a
gonna thump.
revenge
Let's
game.
just
It's going to be a revenge game for Forrest, and Mahomes gets knocked off. Either way, I'm just happy that one of those teams is going to lose next week. Um,
yeah, yeah. That's fair.
all right. Let's jump over to Green Bay and Philly.
Oh,
Um,
this is the sad game of the week.
the sad game of the week.
Yeah, I mean Jordan Love going down at the end, six
Oh, fair
seconds left.
enough.
There's just really no need that he needs to be on that field at that moment. I mean, I get it. You're still trying to go for the win, but that's just tough. I
Yeah.
mean, Jordan Davis really did him wrong there too. If you watch that play, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate spot. I mean, like, I saw Jalen Carter was getting like death threats and shit like that after that because he was the one that was kind of on the ground and just kind of like grabbed the
I thought
leg.
it was I, I
Just
thought
kind
it
of.
was Davis.
I think it was Jordan Davis is the one I think who hit him up top. Then
Oh,
Jalen
okay.
Carter was
I,
on
I
the ground
thought
because
I
he was
thought
fighting through a
okay.
block, and then Love stepped up, and then like it was just kind of Carter was on the ground and just kind of like reached up and just
Yeah,
instinct or whatever, and just kind of wrapped him around the leg, and then Davis kind of came over the top on him, and then that's when his leg
knee
just kind of
twisted.
got
Yeah.
caught in all of it. Yeah,
I
um,
mean, he's lucky it's not worse than what it is.
yeah, for sure.
Obviously, being
Because
out 4 to 6 is bad, especially early in the season. But just be happy it's not the whole time.
yeah, they dodged a bullet there too because they didn't look pretty. Because that replay showed it kind of pop at the end there too. So
Yeah,
I was really concerned
yeah.
about that, but yeah, being able to even dodge IR too
It's
is
crazy.
big
So
for
good,
them.
good
Yeah,
for that situation working out as well as it did. Nobody roots for injuries in this game, so I
right.
hope that he comes back, looks great. I love good football. I'm sure NFC North a little happy he's going to be out a few weeks, but
Yeah, and going
but
to be
I
at least at the very least just like nervous on it for a couple weeks then
yeah,
afterwards too.
yeah, definay. I mean
It'll
it's
take
it's
some
actually
time there.
crazy that they're in last place right now in the NFC North.
Yeah. Hey, we'll get
Wow.
to the Vikings, but don't be talking shit on Darnold just yet. But
We'll
anyway,
we'll,
with
we'll
this game
talk.
though too, is like a lot of the weirdness with the Eagles. I think if you watch just the first 7 minutes of game time,
Yeah.
you would have been really, really concerned about them because it was, you lose Kelsey and there's a couple bad snaps and fumble with that. Hurts threw a pretty ugly pick. I mean, both of his picks were actually really ugly, especially the second one. But early on, it was like, okay, the turnover bug is still there. Um, they're going to miss Jason Kelsey. However, the defense stepped up when in that time too. Like turning the ball over
Yeah,
twice, deep in your own zone, and then holding Green Bay to just field goals there. I thought that was huge and showed
no,
a
that's
lot.
great for them.
Defense still does need work, but again, different D coordinator. Fangio will have those guys humming at some point. You would assume at least. And overall, I didn't think the defense was that bad.
Yeah,
Definitely could have been better, but it was just like a few chunk plays that really hurt them there. Like the long one, long touchdown to Reed. I mean, shit happens sometimes with that. Like you got it was what 72 yards or something like that, 70
yeah,
something.
he was. I mean, and he was shifty. It was a slant over the middle. He caught it on the top, and he just made a move, and he was gone.
Right, and that field was such in such bad
It was
shape. Everybody
bad.
was
It was
slipping around
bad.
anyway. I mean, it's one of those like how many of those guys were actually willing to really get after something there
Yeah,
because
I mean,
you slip weird and tweak a knee or something like that. Like the fact that Jordan Love was the only like major injury in that game was
yeah,
very
that's what I
impressive
was
to
about
me.
to say. Like, that's crazy that no other major injuries occurred, and like that was it, and it was in garbage time at the end of the game. So
Yeah,
happy about that. Hopefully they don't play another game in Brazil, or if they do, it just needs to be in better conditions because that's absurd.
yeah,
Um,
that was a weird one. Like I'm all like, I get the grow the game, the the Europe games like they're fun, they sell out, people are interested in it, it's fun, but like got to protect some of these guys at some point with
yeah.
just yeah, there's too much money at stake for these dudes. Careers are short enough as it is. That was tough to watch for a little bit there. I was nervous every single
Oh
time.
yeah. I mean, Saquon fell in the backfield on his first touch,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
like
and he
right
had
there, you're like,
a
oh
what was it like? I think it was his after the rushing touchdown, his first one. He kind of like slipped in the back of the end zone and like
yeah,
or and then like went the long way to get back to the bench there. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, this one there should have been more to talk about with this one, but with Jordan Love going down, it's just kind of like it kind of
Yeah, I mean,
it
really, all
hits a
that's
little
there
bit
to
different
talk
now.
about. Yeah, all that's
Yeah,
there is really to talk about. Green Bay, you hope that they do well while he's
hmm
out, but you can't really know until you see how well Malik Willis plays. Or there's rumors
well
that
that
they're
and
going to bring in Tannehill,
yeah,
so it's
I was
just you
just
got to
gonna
kind
say
of wait
that.
and see with that. And then with the Eagles, they're still good. They're still a good football team,
Yeah,
regardless
I
of
do want to look at
offensive
the Packers'
mistakes.
schedule here.
Yeah, yeah, pull that up.
Their next like 4 games here because I
Yeah.
did not look at that. Like, let's just see how possible it is for them to go 2-2, even maybe even steal one. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be a fight to get to 2-2. They get the Colts at home next week, then go to
Oh, that's not
Tennessee,
good.
home against the Vikings, and then to the Rams is their
Oh,
next
okay.
4. So
Okay, so they might split depending on who's at quarterback and what that looks like.
depending, but like again, if Sam Darnold looks like he did on
Oh,
Sunday, like
if Sam
that
Darnold looks like an MVP, it's over.
yeah
Like what we'll get into Darnold. I
yeah,
I'm not gonna
but
start that yet.
yeah, I think you gotta hope you at least beat Tennessee.
Yeah,
Hopefully beat the Vikings there. If you can go 2-2, I think they'd be really happy there.
yeah. I mean, they're definitely. I can't even say definitely because of everything that happened this week. So I'm not even gonna talk,
It's
and
true.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop talking before it gets clipped.
Yeah, it's been a weird week.
Oh, it's so
All right,
weird,
let's jump
dude.
to the Sunday night game. I had a
Okay.
lot of fun watching this one. Um,
Oh, best game.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'll allow it. I'll allow the argument there. Um, you want to take the lead on this one here? I'll let you get your thoughts
Yeah,
out here.
I mean, it's I watched most of this game. I was busy, being on vacation. It's hard to watch everything happen. Cup going down is tough. He's out the next 4 weeks, so that's not Cup. I'm so sorry,
Nukua.
Puka. Puka, yeah.
Yeah, I
Been a
was gonna
long day.
say it caught me off guard there.
Yeah, Puka going down out the next 4 games. That's a big loss for their offense. Obviously, Cup stepped up in a major way. He proved that he still can be that 1,800-yard receiver if he wants to. Offense still runs through him. So that's huge. That's huge to know. Kyron is the lead back there. Answered those question marks pretty quick. And really, the Rams, they're gonna be good. It wasn't their week this week. They also lost Steve Avila. He's out the next 4 weeks, so that's gonna be tough. Offensive line takes a big hit, so we'll see what the Rams do and how they bounce back. But the Lions, they're also a good football team, man. They're gonna be a force to reckon with for the next 16 weeks of football. Uh, Amon St. Brown wasn't even a factor in that game, and they still found a way to come back and win without him. Wild, wild.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like on both sides of this.
Yeah,
Detroit, I mean, this is a game that they historically lose. Um,
yeah,
you know, they usually find ways to lose these games, and over the last couple of years, they've been winning these games, and I think this was a game
Mhm.
that they needed to do that because, like, the positives on the Rams side is Rams really had no business being in this game. Lost
No, no,
playing without both of their starting tackles, lost their backup left tackle, lost their right guard, lost Puka, and what was that, like the end of the first, early second quarter. Um,
yeah, yeah.
like I mean,
Puka
they
came
were just
back in
dropping
for
like
like five
flies.
plays.
Yeah, that was it was so quick that happened, and then Stafford gets his ankle rolled up on. That kept getting bumped too. Like this was a gutsy performance by the Rams. Stafford looked. I mean, the numbers aren't really going to show it, but I think he looked really good outside of the the pick he almost threw at the end. But then again, they were wearing the blue uniforms, and he's standing in a blue end zone with a blue backdrop. Like he
Yeah,
wasn't going to see him anyway. Like, and
yeah.
he knew it then too. Like he dodged one for sure. But yeah, I forget. I got to look at this again. I think his yeah. I mean, he was 34 of 49 for 317, but it was just the one TD, one pick, and then I kept his rating down to like 85 there. So like a little under average, but I, I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, Collinsworth took a lot of heat for the throw of the year comment that he made on that third down throw to the cup. However, it was a fantastic throw.
Yeah.
Just can't
I
be
don't
saying
even
that
think it was
after.
probably wasn't even the throw of the week.
No, it wasn't even. No, I
I
mean,
know what the throw of the
not even
week
top
was.
five.
It wasn't that.
Yeah, it wasn't that. But it was a hell of a throw. Looked him off. Nice little no. Like it was really nice play with what three guys in his face. Like I
Yeah.
mean, it was definitely a hell of a throw. But uh, yeah, I liked everything with that. The Lions got a little weird with their play calling in the second half. There, they got a little cute. And I feel like we're trying to get too many people involved at that point. And then
Yeah.
once they got to overtime, like they just went back to what they do well, which is
Run the ball.
running game and run through a motherfucker face. Like, I mean,
I think
they just bullied them in
yeah.
overtime. It was
It
like
was it
the
was Demont, Gibbs, Demont, end
yeah
zone. It was just absurd.
for like 3 plays into that, I was like, I'm turning this off. I know how this ends. Like it
Yeah.
happened so quick.
Yeah, I know how this story goes. I'm done here.
Yeah, and but again, like I just think this is another game where I think there was just a lot of positives for everybody involved.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
I after watching it, even I mean, it just makes you think like the Rams just get the O line right, and Puka's going to be back at some point there. Like, I mean,
I
this
gotcha.
really looks like the two best teams in the NFC. I thought at least, um, and any of the Stafford concern with his injury, it's like Stafford's always kind of hurt. Like it's just been
Gotcha.
his
Yeah.
whole career. He's just like always a little bit beat up. So I'm not overly concerned about that, even with his age. Like he's a
Yeah.
psycho. Dislocates a shoulder and finishes a game. Like
Yeah. I
he's a
mean,
different
he's
animal.
that. Yeah. He's the last of that generation of coming from that draft era. Like
Yeah.
Ben. those kinds of guys, Rivers, get hurt, keep playing through it. I mean, everybody now, you get hurt, you're more worried about getting that contract, so you're
That's
constantly
true.
not wanting
I
to get
mean,
out.
other than like Josh Allen, but Josh Allen is also
Oh,
just a
Josh
little
Allen,
bit of a psycho. He just doesn't care
yeah,
about his body. I mean, he's going to catch
that's
up to him at
yeah,
some point, but for now, I still like watching
big.
it. All right, and then last standalone game here, Niners Jets. Um, this one I got stuck at work a little bit, so I didn't catch as much of it as I would have liked. But just looking back through it, like I don't know. I mean, the Niners are still the Niners. It looks like at this point. Um, I thought Trent Williams
Yeah,
not being in camp and Ayuk not being in camp would have hurt them a little bit more. I thought McCaffrey being out would have really kind of put a wrench in their offense a little bit, especially for Purdy. But Purdy stepped up. He looked good. Um, Jordan Mason looked fantastic. But again, this kind of just goes back to Kyle Shanahan. It's just has a huge brain. Like,
yeah.
dude just knows how to run an offense. And I think we're still just kind of there with it where it's going to be the Niners again. They're going to be good. They're going to run the ball well. Purdy's going to put up some ridiculous numbers that don't make any sense. And come the playoffs, they'll give something away at some point because Kyle Shanahan just tries to outthink the room too much. I think
Oh yeah,
this game was more about the Jets though. Um, I think the glass half full take on the Jets is it's week one. Rodgers hasn't played in a year. We still have multiple new offensive linemen. Um, it's just going to take some time to work out, which I think is fair.
yeah,
However, I think the glass half empty is take is the right one, where it's Rodgers isn't going to be able to move, and that's part of what made Rodgers as good as he was. If he's got to just be Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, and stand back there and try to throw darts, it's going to look pretty at times, but that's just not his game, and it's not. It's going to lower their ceiling so much more because, they made this trade with the expectation that they're going to get actual Aaron Rodgers, just an older version of it, and it looks like at this point that doesn't exist.
yeah. I mean, definitely not having a snap fully and being able to play for 2 straight years. You saw it out there. It took him time to warm up and really get involved in the game, and that's a big issue. So we'll see if they can be more cohesive next week. But I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete with the Bills, the Dolphins in that division.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Um, the defense got rolled over too, and that was like
Yeah,
their calling card was like, oh, we've been 7-10 because of the defense. It's like it's got to show up at some point because that did not. It wasn't there yesterday.
yeah.
Yesterday,
I mean, and that's not even the 49ers with C-Mac.
right?
Ayuk wasn't even fully involved, so you're missing two high components of the offense, basically.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to get real weird for the Jets. I mean, we kind of
Yeah,
called this.
I
You and I were
definitely
both
agree
kind of
with
on
that.
this anyway. Like we didn't
Yeah,
buy into the hype on this. It's just you know, a lot of empty stuff there. And again, Mike
definitely.
Williams doesn't play because he's not fully healthy. It's like, yeah, because it's Mike Williams. It's like he
Yeah.
was healthy one year and he was awesome that one year. He's wildly talented. He just he's not healthy enough.
No, and that's just the unfortunate part about it, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it just helps me feel better about the Niners going forward and knowing that they're still going to be a very good football team. And the Jets, I'll continue to play the game of I'll believe it when I see it.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I'm still not fully sold on the Niners just kind of running away with the NFC or even that division.
Yeah.
Regardless of the injuries with the Rams, I think that I just trust Stafford and McVay a little bit more than I trust Purdy and Shanahan at this point. Long term, that
Yeah, yeah.
I still haven't wavered on that. It's just also, I think just watching Week 1, you don't think the Super Bowl hangover really is showing up yet for the Niners, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be there somewhere. Um, so I mean, we'll see. But yeah, that's still kind of where I'm at with the Niners. Is like I
Mm.
still have questions.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely have questions. But obviously those are good answered week two, week three, week four, as their game continues to mesh and progress here.
Right, right. All right, let's. All right, you can have some fun here. The one happy team in the NFC North this week:
Oh yeah, dude.
Steelers
So
Falcons.
I just want to say that if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, TJ Watt would be the best player in the NFL. I just the man literally dominated 60 minutes of football. They had no Atlanta, who has a top five offensive line, had no answer for that man for 60 minutes. He bullied them on all aspects of the game. Was there some bad officiating there too that took away some strip sacks? Sure, but I'm not going to get into that. That's not why we're here. I mean, if I made the prediction that he was going to win Defensive Player of the Year, he's if he keeps this up, it's money in the bag. But obviously, week one, don't want to speak too soon. Overall, though, I'm quite happy with that performance. Offense did what they needed to do to win the game on a short week for Justin Fields, essentially. So I'll take that every day. He did progress. He looked better as the game went on, which is a lot better than I was ever expecting from him for that week. I don't know what the plan is going to be for this week coming up. Do they start Russ? Do they start Fields? I don't know. That's the wait and see kind of thing. You
Yeah,
look
I'm kind
like
of
you
with
want to
you.
jump in here. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I was just pulling up Fields' numbers there real quick here. No, I'm with you. I mean, I think TJ Watt had the game of the week on either side of the ball. Like, he was unreal, absolutely
Oh
unreal.
yeah.
Like, he was involved on every play. He was just an absolute game wrecker. Like, he
It,
is that guy. Like, it is,
yeah.
and everything kind of works off of him. Like, everybody gets better because he's just so dominant up front and wreaks havoc so constantly. If he can stay
Yeah.
healthy, I mean, it's just it's terrifying to
I
have to
mean,
see him across.
I told you this earlier this weekend. I mean, he's gonna will this team to the playoffs. He's gonna do everything he can to win games, and that's
I
just
was just
him.
gonna say too, if he keeps this up and he looks like that consistently, I mean, and they somehow sneak into the playoffs, I think it's legitimate discussion for MVP. Like everybody was trying
It
to
is
do it for Miles
possible.
Garrett last year, and for 9 weeks, Miles Garrett was fantastic as well. I that was insane watching that
Yeah,
game.
it was
He was blowing
unbelievable.
everything up. Um, and Fields too. Fields looked. I think he looked really solid. I was just pulling it up just to double check myself. Like 17 to 23, 156 yards. No touchdowns, but no picks. Didn't turn
Yeah,
the ball over at all. He fumbled once, but he didn't. They didn't lose it. I think that. If I'm not mistaken. Was that on a weird snap?
yeah, it was probably on a weird snap. I didn't have the full
I feel like
game.
I
I
remember
caught.
that. I don't remember exactly,
Yeah,
but and he looked really good. And Pickens was fantastic yesterday too.
he was so
Um,
good. I mean, he had a big play negated by a, a
oh,
it, it, it was
that was
it
the
was
other one.
PI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was PI, but it was just like you could have let
Not
it
really
go.
though.
It wasn't bad PI.
No,
It
it
is what it
was.
is. Yeah, they still won the game regardless, but it was touch and go. Play
Yeah,
calling in
that
that
was.
game was really bad.
Yeah, that I do remember that. That was a weak one, and but like that's the thing too is like there was a great throw by Fields.
It was
Pickens
beautiful.
was
Yeah,
all
good
over the place.
touch.
Like he looked really really good. Um, I was and I was surprised that they used Harris as much as they did. I
Yeah,
didn't think Artie Smith was gonna make him a workhorse, but he was 20 carries, 70 yards. Like
he
not a
caught what
massive.
two? What did he catch? One pass? Two.
He was targeted twice, one catch for 9 yards.
Okay, okay.
Um, but Pickens was 6 for 85. Apparently, Artie Smith learned after being in Atlanta. Yeah, you should use the guys that are actually good at football and are good athletes.
I told you there are coaches who are good as offensive coordinators, and there are coaches who are good at head coaching. They are not necessarily the same.
That's fair. Yeah, I wasn't buying it
I'm
just
just saying.
because, you know, I mean, you're
Yeah.
not wrong there. I just, I thought Artie Smith kind
We're a
of.
week one in. I'm not about to get ahead of myself. We'll
That's true.
see. I mean, they do have a slightly better schedule here at the beginning of the season, so I'll take it for what it's worth. See how they develop together going into Denver this week. After what I saw from Denver, I'm not too worried about that game. We'll see how they go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's entirely fair too. I think on the flip side though, with the Falcons, I think this one you kind of chop up to week one and rust from Kirk. Like on the flip side
Yeah,
of like Rodgers and the Achilles, Kirk Cousins has been the guy to just stand back there and throw darts. He's still kind of figuring out how
yeah,
his body's going to be able to work at this point, how that ankle's going to feel, and he just had to do it with TJ Watt in his face
all
for
game.
90 minutes
Okay,
basically every time he
just
was on the
unbelievable.
field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I
I
couldn't do
think,
it. I don't
yeah, no, oh my God, no. And my body's hanging on by a thread as it is. Now, give me a
Yeah,
bum Achilles for sure on that. No, I'm not having fun with that. So I think any of the overreaction on the Falcons is like just pump the brakes on that. They're gonna be fine. They just got a bad draw, really,
yeah.
like having to deal with that. Start the season. Um, all right, I feel like the rest we might be able to run through a little bit quicker here. Let's go. Let's go. Cardinals Bills.
Oh, I love this game. This might have been
This was
my
fun.
favorite game of the week. I
Fair
told you it was
enough.
going to be fun. I knew it was going to be
Oh
fun.
yeah, I was with you. I mean, I like
Kyler, Josh Allen, they went back and forth all game. Josh
yeah.
Allen proved that he is who we thought he was. Me and
That's
you,
fair.
who we thought he was, not necessarily everybody else. Um, I he doesn't need a top tier receiver anymore in his career. He is the best player on the field when he's out there. He leads that team to victory, and it's what he does week in and week out. We'll see how he continues to progress over the season against what people might assume to be better opponents. But I don't think the Cardinals are bad, especially offensively. They really proved that they're a more cohesive team now, that Kyler's had a full offseason to be with Gannon and really work through what they need to. So I'm
Yeah, I'm with
curious
you. I
about
mean,
them. Yeah, I'm curious about them going forward and seeing what they can do in the weaker NFC. Obviously, they're in the hardest division over there with Seattle and San Fran and LA, but they look good.
yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's going to be the best of the fourth place finishing teams. Like
100%.
they're just yeah, there's too much talent on offense for them to not be good.
Yeah.
The only thing that like mildly concerns me with the Bills is it felt like they were trying to kind of get everybody involved and make Josh Allen comfortable with the new receivers, and then they got down early because the defense is
Yeah.
still kind of working through kinks, and then it was just back to the old Josh Allen. I'm going to throw the cape on and just make this happen, and it worked for him yesterday. Um, and when it's working, it's really like nothing else in the league, honestly. Like there
No.
aren't many guys that can do that. Uh, but I just don't think it's going to be sustainable because he's going to get weird at some point. He's going to
Yeah.
have the 3-pick game. It's just inevitable if he's doing that consistently. Um, and I think they'll get there. And it's going to be tough now going into a short week. They got Miami on Thursday. Like, that's the only thing that concerns me a little bit is he's got to develop that relationship with with the young guys and the new guys, um, and not put himself in harm's way and let James Cook do a little bit more,
Yeah.
especially down near the goal line. Because it like the bones are there. I'm not overly concerned about the defense. It's going to need work, but like Sean McDermott has shown, like he can, you know, make a defense function. But that was my only real takeaway from that was that at some point in time, like Josh Allen is going to have to lean on the guys on the field around him
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the only weird thing about that game was the fact that Marv had one catch for 4 yards, and that was it.
Well, he should have had that last one too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, so that'll be interesting to watch how him and Kyler's uh, just work together throughout the season and see if they can really get something going. That's the hope. That was the plan, obviously coming in. So we'll see how that progresses here.
Yeah. Um. All right, let's go to another. I feel like high-profile game here. Titans Bears.
That's not the conversation I thought you were going to bring up here, but all right, I'm in.
No, let's just do it because obviously all the hype, everything like that. I'm obviously on the Caleb train, but I do want to start with Tennessee first. Let's get the real negative stuff out of the way here. Will Levis is not that guy.
He definitely
I'm,
struggled. He
I feel
100%
very
did.
comfortable saying it at this
Okay.
point. Is that it's I think I'm out on Will Levis at this point.
Right.
Um, Still just doesn't really see the field. I did actually watch some of his stuff. Then I found I
Yeah.
had to dig a little bit, but I actually found just like some of the throws and everything like that. He doesn't throw on the move. Like when he rolls out, it's like it's kind of clunky. It's like he's being too mechanical with it. It's like it just doesn't look right. Like he feels like it looks like he's trying to set himself every
Yeah.
time he rolls out, and it's like, dude, you just got to let it rip at some point. It's just got to go. Like you don't have the time, and windows close quickly. Like you see it, and the amount of time it takes you to go, oh wait, let me set my feet and kind of get everything going here. It's like that window's closed. Um,
Yeah.
the obviously the pick at the end was maybe the worst decision of the weekend, and even he knew it. Obviously, that picture with him on his knees. I'm sorry, but
It's great.
like
It's
that was
beautiful.
hysterical. But yeah, I Tennessee's going to be drafting a quarterback. That's like the one thing I have to say with
Okay.
that side there. On the flip side, with Caleb, he looked shaky. He
Yeah,
definitely did
he
not play well.
he
I
had a,
think
he had a rough game.
he got flustered. Again, I kind of watched like a little recap of his stuff there too. Like,
Yeah.
I think once he missed that throw to Keenan Allen early in the game, kind of overthrew him for that walk-in touchdown. Um, he got a little rattled, and Tennessee does like that front four. That D line is there's some big bodies there. They
Yeah.
and they're not like it's pretty solid group there. So it's not like he wasn't getting pressured the whole time, but I
Yeah.
think he got rattled with that first one to Keenan Allen a little bit, and then very quickly reverted back to USC Caleb Williams, where it's just like, oh, there's a little bit of pressure coming. I'm going to dance around back here, see if I can make something happen. And he just kind of forgot, hey, this is the real league now, and these dudes are faster. They're going to get you. Like
Yeah,
you can't just
they're not.
try to make magic happen on every play. And
Yeah.
so I'm not overly concerned there. He just got he got punched in the mouth for sure. Like,
Yeah, you got woken up. I mean, that's kind of what I was trying to tell you last week. Just like temper the expectation.
oh yeah,
Um, I I think he'll be fine long term. I just I'm not big on Chicago ever drafting anybody.
that's true.
So I'm curious to see how his development goes. I mean, they set him up very well. I just don't know if they set him up very well with the coach. So it's always been my issue.
I totally agree with the coaching thing. Is like it's there's gonna be questions there. I mean,
Uh-huh.
he's not gonna have a guy right now. He doesn't have anybody to lean on
Yeah.
when things get weird. Like Mahomes had Andy Reid early on, where it was like Mahomes would get weird and funky and a little bit out of his element. Andy Reid would get him a few layups. McVay does that for every quarterback he's had. It's just like, all right, you're getting a little squirrely. We're just going to get you three in a row. Like right now, he doesn't have anybody to do that for him.
Yeah.
To just like run out, like, all right, here are the next three plays. It's going to be like, this is like everything's very clear and direct. I think he's going to be fine. I'm still on it. I'm not overly concerned. Like, I wasn't expecting him to wake up and give you 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and, pick up 45 yards with his feet and just make magic all happen the whole game. But this one was, yeah, it was very evident. Like, he just kind of, even he thought it was going to be a little bit simpler just with all the weapons around him and everything like that.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, they punted 6 times.
yeah.
6 times. You know what's hilarious is when he got drafted, they drafted a punter that weekend, and he texted him and said,
Yeah, the
don't worry, buddy, you're not going to be punting too much."
Yep.
And
Yeah,
he
and
was
then
out
he
on the
was just
field almost
bombing
as much as
balls.
Caleb was. Yeah,
I
it's
know. Yeah, it
hilarious to
was.
me.
Yeah, ugly look there, but hey, win's a win. I think
Yeah,
that's going to help. I do think that's the other like psychological thing that's going to like let him kind of relax a little bit.
yeah,
Is like if he would have played that kind of game at any point in time in USC, they're getting rolled by 60 because their defense, his defenses in college were absolute turnstiles. Like he had to do everything. And if he wasn't good enough, like if he wasn't hitting wild throws, like they weren't winning games. And like now it's
yeah,
finally like, oh, I have somewhat of a support system. I got guys around me that will, you know, pick me up when I look like trash. So I
yeah,
think
for
that'll help
sure.
him. I think he'll be a little bit. I mean, it's not going to be an easy test next week with going to Houston, but I think he'll be a little bit calmer, kind of going into it there.
Yeah.
All right, which game you want to go to next year? I'll let you choose this one.
Let's go Miami Jacksonville just because the the game that we want to talk about.
That's true. Yeah. Do you want to take
I'll
your
say it.
victory
I'll
lap?
say it. I'll say it. Well, I'll take the victory lap. I mean, Jags lost. That's great. But I will give you this. Trevor did have some really nice throws in that game. He did look shaky. He had the second nicest throw of the week. I'll give him that. To that
Yep.
drag route over the top to BTJ in the corner. I mean, and BTJ just phenomenal this weekend. That catch he made on that pass was beautiful, toe tapped and everything. He is going to be good, period. And I knew it. I just wanted to temper my own expectations, but I've seen it, a little bit of it now, so I'm happy. But Miami did what Miami always does: big plays, long balls, and just touchdowns to win the game. It was inevitable, and the other inevitable thing was that Devon Achane was going to be on the injury report at the end of it. So they are on a short week with Buffalo. I don't know if they're going to pull that one out. Are they home or away for that?
That's in Miami.
That's in Miami. That's huge. So they might steal one there. If as long as Waddle is still off the injury report, and I mean it doesn't really matter if Achane is or is not hurt, but if he's not hurt, they have their fifth big play person on the field. So I think that'll be just a fun game. But we're not talking about next week yet. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, I mean, my thing was with this, I think the biggest takeaway I had was I think the Jags are the new Chargers.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. I think that's a
They're
great
just
way to
gonna
put it.
find ways to lose games.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah,
sequence at the end is absolutely ridiculous. ETN is walking into the end zone to go up 24-10 at that point, was it? Or 24-14?
yeah. 24
They're about to
14,
score
I
late.
think. Yeah,
And forget who it was. Great punch.
smacks.
Knocks the ball out. Fumbles out of the back of the end zone. All right, fine. Play defense here. Immediately, next play, Tyreek Hill 80 yards to
Yeah,
the house.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
talking about, dude. It's crazy.
immediately happens. Or yeah, it was going to be 24/7. Yeah, that made it 17-14. Next kickoff, like that kickoff, fumble the kick, end up with bad field position. Like they recovered it at least, but then end up with bad field position. Then Doug Peterson decides to go for what was it, a 4th and 1 or a 4th and 2 on their own 30
Yeah, yeah. For whatever
in a
reason,
3-point game.
and they lost 2 yards on it.
Yeah, lost 2 yards on it. Now, granted, the defense stepped up there. I think they stopped him on that one, kept him from kicking him. Did they only gave up a field goal there? I think it was at that point. Yeah,
That's
that's
probably
yeah.
what
They
it was.
kicked the
17
field
all.
goal
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Then it was 17-all, and then like what are we doing? Like they looked good in the first half. Obviously, it was what 17-3 at half, 17-7 at half. Like they were
Yeah.
moving the ball. Trevor Lawrence looked good. I mean, I was still overall happy with how Trevor Lawrence played. Like again, clean game. No fumbles, no picks. Hey, we're happy right there, and he was moving the ball pretty well. But yeah, like what are we doing right now with that? It's they're turning into just the team that just is gonna find a way to lose. They're just
Yeah. I
inventing ways to lose football games.
yeah, I really like that analogy. That's pretty good. New
Yeah.
Chargers. All
So
right.
sorry about
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence right now, but hey, there's still time. It's week 1. It's
Week
week
one, a
1.
lot,
I'm
lot
still
of
on
time to
you.
go.
I'm still on
All
it.
right. Let's go
Where do we
to
want to go to next?
Indy Houston.
Yeah. All right. I'm in for this one.
All right. I love this. A Rich just continues to prove how good of an athlete he is. I'm not saying he's a great quarterback by any means, but he is a fantastic athlete. That 60-yard bomb to Alec Pierce was one of the best passes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He was
Un
falling backwards
Unreal.
and just unleashed that. That was the best pass of the weekend by far.
Yes, yeah, we keep referencing it. That one was, I mean, it was, yeah, he slipped and then it was like a flick of the wrist on a dot. Like, that was stupid to watch.
Yeah. I was amazed by it. I'm very happy with how he played overall. He used his legs less than what he has last year. He just proved that he still has a cannon and he'll always have a cannon. I'm hopeful that he can reel in some of those really poor passes, really get his accuracy down a little bit better. Obviously, that's going to take some time being in that offense some more and just being with Shane Steichen. Luckily, Shane Steichen is a very good coach, and I think working together, they can really, really do something.
Yeah, I think this one really just kind of showed you what both of these teams are.
Yeah,
Houston
100%.
just has a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
It was just kind of everywhere. Like, I mean, Stroud was picked up right where he left off last year. Uh, was feeding Collins the whole time, and then they get into the red zone, and it's
Hmm.
like you got 3 options, and then he found Diggs twice. Like
Yeah.
Mixon was insane. I think that was like maybe the most predictable thing that could have happened is like he got Diggs and Mixon as new vet faces. Like they were going to feed them at some point. Like
Yeah.
Diggs, not
100%.
necessarily like the high volume, but red zone touches, and Mixon 30 carries for 159. Like they were obviously made it a point to feed him.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sustainable. That is like the one thing that I thought of is like they looked absolutely fantastic. I just don't think 30 touches for Joe Mixon every week is or 30 rushes. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to be sustainable. Like again, we talked about
Like
it
that.
before.
That's
He's getting older.
insane.
That's my concern is like right now they have enough punches because everybody's happy and healthy. But I would be
Yeah.
that's just my only caution there. But on the flip side, you saw the Colts really well coached with Steichen and A. Rich is kind of what we said a week or two ago. The most volatile player in this league. Made
Unbelievable.
clearly the play of the day.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I'm looking
then
at his stats right now. He had 19 attempts all game. He only
I was just going to
completed
say he
nine.
was 9
Only
of
completed
19.
nine, 200
Again, yeah.
yards.
Yeah, 9 of 19 for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, and a
And
101
then
rate. Like, it's all over the map. And then was like 6 rushes for 56 yards and a touchdown. Like,
yeah, just
Did you
insane, just unbelievable.
makes no
Al-
sense.
Also, also, I will say I was definitely wrong about Tank Dell. He definitely had the worst week of the three receivers, but he still targeted the second most 7 times. So I'll walk that back. I'm curious to
That's
see
fair.
how it continues. I don't obviously 3 catches on 7. It's not great, but we'll see what
Yeah, I mean,
happens.
I didn't see all seven of those targets,
No,
so
neither
I'm
did I.
assuming he
So
was just like the target on a throwaway a couple times there. That kind of changes things because 3 for 40, it's
yeah,
like, I mean, it doesn't look great, and like I said too, I mean, it feels like they made it a point to give Diggs looks
yeah.
in the
But
red zone there.
outside of those top three receivers, anybody on that team is dead. It's dead weight. You don't even hold anybody. John Mechie, just let him go.
Yeah, Mechie's not.
In
Yeah,
your deep dynasties, just let John Mechie go.
yeah. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I still don't know what to make of Richardson at this point because it's like
Yeah,
it's still going to be the same stuff, and I think they're going to just ride that wave, and they're going to win some games, and they're going to lose some games on it. Like but I don't know what else you do with him
yeah.
until he
You
gives
just
you. Yeah, it's like the dude's never been close to completing 60% of his throws. Like
yeah. You just
you
gotta
just
let him
don't
go.
know. Yeah,
Yeah,
and just hope that you get more of the insanely good than you do
yeah.
the, you know,
The
want
bad.
to close your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit. I guess because we haven't done it, and I guess we're pretending to be like the one outlet that doesn't just funnel them down your throat. Let's go to the Cowboys game. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
ugly game.
Cowboys look good, Browns look bad. What's more to say? We
Yeah,
expected
really.
this.
I'm not.
Deshaun
I'm
Watson
not
is
going to
not
take
good
too
at
much stock
football.
into this on the Cowboys side. Honestly, like I watched this
Yeah,
game. They had a couple drives that were really well designed. McCarthy called a good game at that point. At least like it was like 2 drives worth where it was like, oh, I mean, yeah, everything's clicking here. Um,
yeah.
I'll give them credit that they were able to do that against that Cleveland defense in Cleveland. Um, but I'm not taking too much stock into it because it was evident pretty early on that Deshaun Watson doesn't look like he wants anything to do with football anymore.
No,
And once
he's
they
out of
got up
it.
a couple scores, it was just kind of like, just don't let him back in, was kind of what that game was. It
Yeah.
was just, yeah, again, I think this is the other team that's just, we're looking for a quarterback. It's Cleveland, but they can't do anything.
The,
But they can't do
it
anything.
has to
Like
be
this is a dead franchise
drafted.
for the
Yeah.
next 3 years. Well, not even that. It's just like you can't even like. What are you going to do? Have him sit on your bench with a $72 million cap hit for the next 2 years?
What you do is you hope he gets arrested, so you can
That's
just
true.
drop the
But
contract.
he even got like wording in his contract about like protecting himself
Mm,
with like he's not going to lose money from suspensions.
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so
I don't know. Regardless, it's yeah.
it's a mess.
I mean,
There's a
I'm
lot
not
more
reading
going
too
on
much into this
outside of
game other
football.
than the
Yeah.
fact that like Deshaun Watson does not look like he wants to be on a football field,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't feel bad for him.
No,
Let's
no,
just
no,
address that.
not at all.
I
I'll
don't
never feel
think
bad.
anybody does or should. He's a
All right.
clown. Yeah. All right. So moving on. um,
Chargers?
yeah, let's go to the Chargers. I was just thinking
Yeah.
that. Um, watching some of the highlights on this. I, I told you, Jim Harbaugh's back, baby.
Yeah.
This was a
He looked
classic Jim
he's
Harbaugh
fun,
game.
man. He's
Justin
fun.
Herbert, you make the throws that you need to make, but we're not gonna rely on you too heavily here. It's gonna be let's run the ball. I will take a little bit
Yeah.
of a victory lap on J.K. Dobbins right now. I've been saying it. The dude just can't stay healthy, and he's healthy now. Couldn't be happier for him, and I want to see him do well. Um, Joe Alt might have been the best player in this game.
Oh, he was by
I
far.
like insane. I actually watched the all of his snaps against Max Crosby. Bullied him, just absolute bullied him. There was one play where Crosby kind of got by him, but Alt had pushed him so far out and behind Herbert that he never had a chance to recover and like kind of get back
Yeah.
into the play there. Like the ball was out of Herbert's hands by the time he even got close, and like then he like took 2 more steps and tapped Herbert on the shoulder. Like, I mean, makes sense that Crosby was willing to throw some punches at the end of that game because um, they all kind of just owned him for three
Yeah,
hours.
I
Like,
mean,
and however
I'm
many
not
plays that
picking
it
a
was, he looked fantastic.
I'm not picking a fight with Joe Alt. I'll say that.
No, I mean that's a big boy.
As
Yeah,
that is a very big boy.
that was a hell of a pick by Harbaugh there. Um,
Yeah.
I do think the Raiders are a weird team, but I don't know. I feel like there's still like weirdly a little bit too much talent on that team for them to just go away. Like I don't think
They'll
they're
win some
getting.
games for
Yeah, they're gonna
sure.
win some. They're just. I
They're
think they're
gonna
gonna
win
be
some
in a
dumb
lot more
games.
games. They're gonna be win a couple dumb ones, but they're gonna be in a lot more games than they're gonna win. Just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they do have talent, and like I mean Gardner Minshew had honestly kind of a hell of a day. Like where is that here? I think he finished. I just want to pull up his numbers here real quick because I do remember looking at it. He finished Gardner Minshew, 25 of 33, 257, one touchdown, one pick, 95 rating.
I mean, that's not bad. They
And
were
that was
playing
like
from
what the
behind the entire game.
sixth highest passing yards on the week.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, everybody else
Yeah.
kind of fucking sucked, but yeah, no, like, yeah, I'm buying more Chargers stock right now. Is
Yeah, for
basically
sure.
kind of where that went, regardless
Yeah.
of them playing the Raiders. I will take
All
one
right.
more victory lap here.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we got time for like one more here.
Yeah, yeah, I think the last couple here, I think we can bang out. Yeah, we only got a couple
Pretty
more
quick.
here. Yeah, I'll take a little victory lap on Sam Darnold.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm very
Because
happy with that.
I
He
was yeah. I
finally
mean
got.
he looked
I mean,
great.
it was very hard or very easy to just kind of chop it up to. He's not that good. He's not that good. He's not that good. He does have a weird little hitch in his delivery that kind of like
Yeah.
takes a little bit too long. Um, but this is the first time we've seen him with competent offense around him,
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
like Justin Jefferson,
He
Jordan Addison, and Kevin O'Connell. Like he's
and a good
finally gotten some.
offensive line.
Yeah, like I was just happy to
Yeah.
see it more than anything. He started what
Yeah.
10 for 10 or 12 for 12 at one point. Like
He started. I think it was at least 10 for 10. It was
I know it was at least 10 for
just
10. I don't know
ridiculous.
if he got
Yeah.
up to the 12 there, but like
Yeah.
listen, like that was just very very good to see. Also, the Giants are another garbage franchise at this point. There's nothing.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Daniel Jones is
It's
cooked.
just it looks bad. It looks
They're
bad.
gonna have to. I mean, Drew Lock is starting by Halloween at this point.
You think it takes that long?
I think it might take that. I thought I was underselling it just because of the contract. I think they
Does
might
it
try to push it
matter?
as long as they can because of the
The
because of the money.
Browns are already calling for Jameis, so what does it matter?
Oh, but again, they're not gonna play Jameis because they're just gonna
No,
run. They've got too much invested into um, watching at
Deshaun.
this point. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
it's the
Deshaun
same
will
kind of
fake
thing.
an injury. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna just stop showing up at some point. But
Yeah.
yeah, another one I think we were very wrong on going into at least just this game.
Saints
Um,
Panthers.
yeah, I mean it is
Yeah,
not good. We
I
said
was
it couldn't get worse, and it
Derek
got
Carr was
worse.
unbelievable in this game. Let's just get that out of the way. The man,
Yeah,
look,
but again, I feel like I can't really do too much about that because like I mean that got ugly so fast, and
it's
Bryce
so
Young is
quick. It
just
just got out
not
of
it.
hand. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, like it
that's
is.
something I'll say. I don't think Bryce Young is long for the NFL at this point.
No, I
He'll
mean they're
get
going to be looking for someone.
he'll get another season, so he'll get this season and one more to like fully develop into what he should be. But I don't think it'll be anything that's needed.
If they have a
I
top
mean,
five pick, I think they're taking a quarterback and moving on from Bryce Young.
but the quarterback class isn't great. I don't even know if there's a quarterback
Yeah,
right.
but like
Carson Beck. But if the Giants are as bad as everybody thinks, Beck's going to them. Are you taking a flyer on Shadur Sanders? Let's be honest. I'm not.
that's true. That's getting worse by the day. No,
It's
but
so
like
hard to it's so difficult to evaluate that kid because his dad doesn't know how to run the team properly. The O line's terrible. His weapons outside of Travis Hunter aren't good. So what is he really able to show?
And he's going to
So
pull so much unnecessary attention to
yeah,
you, and
his
it's not.
his
And there's not enough
attitude
good
isn't even
attention.
good.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
going to be
it's
the thing with
bad.
that. Yeah,
I
I
I
don't really
I
know what to do with
personally
him at
would
this
not
point.
do it.
No, but I'm saying, okay, right now, Quinn Ewers or Bryce Young.
Oh, I'm taking Ewers our day. He looks
And that's what I'm saying.
fantastic. I
That's
was
what I
just
mean.
about to
Is
talk
like
about
they're
that.
gonna, yeah, like
But I'm not spending a top five pick on Quinn Ewers right now. I need 10 more weeks of what he's doing. I'm being
regardless.
honest.
I might agree with you.
Yeah.
He might be a bottom third of first round talent at
Yeah.
his peak, but he's a quarterback. So like, if he's gonna be there, like he's gonna get overdrafted. That's just how it works. That's just the
It's just
reality of it.
yeah, it's tough,
But
dude.
that's what I
It's
mean. It's
tough.
just like you reset the quarterback clock. You kind of eat Bryce Young dead, like a little bit of dead cap money. I think in the third year, right? But it's not
Yeah, I
enough.
mean,
Like it goes down after
I
the
mean,
second
if you
year
you're gonna
exponentially.
trade him, like if you draft somebody new, you're trading Bryce Young.
Yeah, and you trade him
Somebody's gonna
for
take a flyer. It's gonna. I mean,
a
the
late day two
Steelers
or early day three pick.
Steelers just did it with Kenny Pickett. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think they'll probably give him one more year of like true like this is the offense under Dave Canales. First year we'll chalk it up to learning it. Second year we
Yeah,
should know it. We should be winning games. We'll see.
yeah. In terms of betting, though, I will not touch them until I
No,
actually see it.
never, never,
I
ever,
mean, I
ever.
was on the right. I felt really good about that. I was on the right side. I was, and I even after I said it, was listening to a bunch of
I'm right
the
there with you, dude.
other
I'm right there
betters,
with
heavy
you.
betters, and everything like that, and a
Yeah,
lot of them were on it too, and it
yeah,
felt
for
like the right
sure.
side, and then we just all kind of got hosed on it. All right, real quick, New England, Cincy. Um,
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
it,
know.
yeah,
Yeah. I
weird
mean,
comments from Jamar Chase after that game. Um, Burrow was playing with his
we'll
wrist
see
the
what
whole
they
time.
do.
He was doing the
Yeah,
whole like trying to feel it, and like video of the water
the
bottle thing
water
where he kind of
bottle. Yeah, that I sent
kind of
you. Just
craned it, give it
it's weird.
his strong hand kind of
So
thing.
so yeah, give me the strong hand. Yeah. So we'll see what they look like this week if T Higgins is out there. Um, if they have their full offense, I'm curious to see how they look.
I
But
will
I
be
don't
watching this
have.
game. I was gonna split
Yeah.
screen it honestly, and then I decided against it because I was like, this is just so ugly. I don't want to ruin the first week of football by
Yeah.
split screening this game. And I was like, all right, fine. Worst case scenario, it's like a 16-10 game since he wins, and then they do absolutely nothing.
No,
Yeah,
and you
I
even
don't know
thought
what
they
to.
were gonna come back, and they still didn't come back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I just chalk that up to since he's just bad in September,
Yeah.
or
We'll
there's
see how they
bigger issues.
progress.
Yeah, I want to see what they look like this week. Like if they get
Yeah.
dog walked by KC, then I think there's time for real panic.
Yeah, for
Especially if
sure.
like Burrow comes out again and just like maybe gets you 150 yards. Like I think there's time for
Yeah.
you're going to be looking for the panic button there. Seattle,
Yeah.
Denver, last one here.
I was wrong. I'll say that. Gino looked good. Team looked good as a
After the
whole.
first after the first quarter and a half,
Yeah, I mean, he threw a pick immediately. I'll say that. I did
yeah.
go. I did my little walk of happiness, and then he made me eat my words a little bit. I don't necessarily believe that it'll progress. I think he definitely showed some signs of regression, but
Mhm.
the team overall played better. Ken Walker is injured, so we'll see how that develops here in the future.
Yeah.
But overall, the team looked better than I anticipated them looking. It's either that or Denver is really just that bad.
Right. I
Both
think
both can be true.
that's true. I think it's somewhere in between that where like Gino did struggle early. He didn't look great. But I think you kind of bake a little bit of that in, and I don't think he played much in the preseason either. And he's not a guy that
Yeah.
can just like roll out of bed, and show up for week one, and really light
No,
the world on
he
fire.
de- he
But I do
definitely
think
can't.
like there's a lot of talk about like conservative coaching, especially with defensive head coaches and everything like that. And you kind of they get knocked a little bit for it. I
Yeah.
think just because of Seattle's situation. I think that's going to be good. I think Geno Smith kind of fits into that mold a lot better. Um,
Yeah.
and I think he's smart enough to like understand when to take certain shots. And then Bo Nix, like the numbers, he was a little all over the place, but I think there were some
It's
things.
just so hilarious. That's like the funniest stat line I've seen in a while. Those are like
Bo
Kenny
Nix,
Pickett like numbers. Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of all
It's
over the place, but like he looked, there were like positives from it though too. Like he is definitely more mobile and more athletic than
yeah.
like I think a lot of people really thought because they were moving him around a lot, and then he was
I
getting
mean,
outside the pocket a lot, like on design
the
stuff, and
game
even
was
just
definitely
like
closer than it should have been. I'll give him that.
yeah. Um, but I think it was just again kind of a weird spot, like having to start in Seattle. Like you're the Oregon kid; they already hate you,
Yeah.
and now you're going. I mean, that's a tough environment to play in. That defense is loaded. There, I mean, and you saw it just back to the McDonald thing, real quick here. That defense is going to be humming. Those dudes were all over the place
Yeah,
in that game.
definitely.
Like,
Yeah, you called
I
it.
think
They
it was
were
a tough
good.
spot. I think in terms of all the rookies that played yesterday, what him, Caleb, and Jaden. No, we didn't touch that game.
No, we didn't touch that game.
I think there's an argument to be made that Knicks showed the most in terms of like some to look at. I think
Maybe.
Jaden had the best game overall,
Yeah.
but again, it was
Yeah,
kind of a
stat
classic.
wise,
Like,
yeah.
hey, he's an athlete, and he just had to turn and run a few times.
Yeah.
Happy for Baker in that game, honestly. Like, I've really turned the
Oh
corner on
yeah.
him. Like, good for him, honestly.
I mean, I didn't think that Tampa was gonna do this, and they just came out and played
Yeah,
unbelievable.
they were
So
impressive.
maybe I will be changing my tone a little bit on Tampa. We'll see how they look next week and
Yeah, I
so
think I
on.
think there's a real possibility they're an 8-9 win team. I had them finishing second in the division. Like I think
Seventh. Yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
be a tough out. The only thing is they lost what 4 pieces of their secondary, Winfield,
And
and then I
Shaq
think it was
Barrett.
300. Yeah, it was like and Shaq Barrett. Yeah, true. Like I mean, even just like the injury this past week, like I mean that's gonna be
Oh
tough.
wow. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it
we'll
was.
see. We'll see what happens. Um, they do have a first place schedule, so that won't be easy. So I'm just curious to see how that continues. I guess technically they had a first place schedule the year before, so
Yeah, I think they got a little bit better of a
we'll see.
draw, but also I mean they snuck in as a playoff team or as a
Yeah,
I mean winning a division that had Bryce Young, bad Derek Carr,
yeah.
and
Desmond Ritter
I don't know
slash Taylor
whoever the
Heineke.
Falcons try to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like just horrible
Yeah,
quarterback play. So and they won.
just
Did they
bad.
win 10 games last year? I think they were a 9 win team, weren't they? Did they get in at
It's
9-8, or was
nine.
it?
Yeah, I think it was 9 and
I don't
8
know.
they got in.
Yeah. So I mean that's part of it too. But I mean I'm happy for him regardless. Like I don't think they're going to be an easy out no matter what.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
he's just
I
gonna
agree.
kind of keep him going there. All right.
Yeah.
Do we want to do our top tens here?
Yeah, we'll do them real quick. I actually forgot about this, but I have a good. Well, I've been all over the place today, but I'll be ready.
All right, sounds good. All right. So here we go. After week one, we should have done this before the season, just kind of
Yeah,
set up where
probably.
we thought, but see what changed. But hey, we're still learning. Um, after week one, I'll start at 10. Work my way up here. 10.
Okay.
I'm going Miami. That offense is just too
Wow.
potent for me. Yeah, I got them at number 10.
I can't
This is
believe you
very
have them
honest.
in the top 10.
Hey, I'm an honest guy. I'll I I have no problem with that. This is just what I saw. Yeah, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I mean, A-Chain's may or may not play this week, but like, still got Jeff Wilson and potentially Jalen Wright playing. Like, it's a Shanahan system, so like running backs are going to
Yeah,
play well.
yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
and I was impressed that they won that game. Honestly, like
Yeah,
that,
they look
I
good.
didn't think they quite had the balls to step up like that, but made a nice little run at the end there. Number 9, I'm going the Chargers there, and
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like even right now I might have them a little low. Just but I'm kind of tempering that a little bit yet. The Harbaugh, this is a classic Harbaugh team. It looks like
Yeah,
Michigan, but with NFL players. Like,
yeah,
and I I'm here for it. I think it's a complete change of pace. Um, I'm really really excited for this Chargers team. I think they're just going to be fun to watch and just cartoonish because it's Jim Harbaugh and he says ridiculous things and does ridiculous things. Like him and Herbert in the locker room. Like Herbert even got to the point where he's like, "Why are you still touching me?" Like you can see at first he was like happy, and then it was like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Um, 8,
yeah.
I have the Eagles right
Okay,
now. Um,
interesting. I gotcha.
again, maybe a little bit low at the moment, but I think putting up what almost 40 points when you had put up 34 points with 3 turnovers, some sloppy football, and honestly could have had 5 or 6 turnovers in that game. Um, I'm I feel very confident in that Philly team right now.
Okay.
Saquon made an immediate impact in that. Um, I I saw enough from that I feel a lot more comfortable about them. Obviously, I was high on them anyway, but I feel pretty good about them.
Yeah, that's
Seven,
fair.
seven. I moved these guys around several different times when I was doing this, but ended on the Rams. And the only reason I think I have them as low as I do right now is just the health thing. At the moment, I think O-line
Yeah,
questions on the outside. Like I think that's real. No Puka for the next 4 weeks. I think that's going to be a team that I will have move up pretty quickly at some point here. But I just want them to get healthy, and I want to see what they look like in a full game without being fully healthy right now. But again, I thought they looked really, really solid in that game on Sunday night. So I'll put them at 7. 6, I got Houston. I mean,
they're a good team,
yeah.
man.
I mean, I'll eat it for now. I still have a lot of faith in Jacksonville, even
Yeah,
though I spent 5 minutes saying how they're just gonna find ways to lose games. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, as of right now, I mean, Houston is looked better, like from start to finish. Stroud is still just cooking. I think they're going to hit a wall at some point, I think, and just have
Hmm.
like a rough month somewhere. But right now, still have faith in them. 5, this one I might have a little low, but this one I think I projected a little bit more.
Okay,
But I got San Fran. Um,
interesting.
yeah,
All right.
they dog walked the Jets, but I'm I don't know. Maybe I'm just really skeptical of Brock Purdy and Shanahan, but like I feel like there's a downfall coming at some point, where it's just
Yeah,
like a 6 game, like 6 weeks, where it's just like they go 2-4, nothing's really working. Um, it just looks clunky. Um, but right now, I mean, like they were dominant yesterday. They
yeah.
looked really good
100%.
against the Jets. 4, I have Buffalo.
Oh,
I
okay.
uh might be overvaluing a little bit, but I mean, until somebody figures out a way to like consistently make Josh Allen beat himself, like the dude just turns into a machine when he wants to. And
100%. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, and I think if he can do that like he did on Sunday and going forward, get the other guys involved and be able to spread the
Yeah.
ball around. And I mean, James Cook actually like had a good game too. Like I really like where Buffalo's at. I think the defense is only going to get better.
Hmm.
I'm still pretty high on Buffalo. Number 3, I have Detroit again. Like when they lock in, it is scary. Like that drive in overtime was just surgical. I mean, Rams literally had no chance. And I think if they can, I think they'll consistently do that to teams.
Yeah.
Right now, I
Yeah.
think they're the best team in the
100%.
NFC. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah,
they're the
for
best team in
sure.
the NFC right now. Um,
For sure.
that was fun to watch. Number 2, I got Baltimore. This
I
might
know
be a
you
little bit
do,
of a homer
because
pick, but
it definitely is.
over the weekend, those were the two best teams I watched.
Yeah, that's fair.
I saw
Fair
from
enough.
start to finish. Again, week one, everybody's got things to work out. Ravens still have that there, but this, and obviously, spoiler: Chiefs number one.
Yeah,
Get
I
that out
don't
of the
think it's
way.
much of a spoiler.
Those were the two best teams I saw this weekend.
That's fair.
Eh, I think both of those teams are on a different level right now. I think you have anybody else play the Chiefs on Thursday night, this past Thursday night. I don't think it's a close game. I don't think San Fran is it's coming down to the last play there, like it was, or not even just the last play, like literally an inch and a half.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else is getting there. I mean, Ravens almost forced Mahomes into two picks he doesn't throw. Like the one that they got already was you don't see Mahomes really make that throw, and then Mahomes had to play cornerback on the second one that they almost got. Like steps up to the. Do you remember seeing that one? Steps up on the line, tries to get rid of it. I forget who it was. Jumps up, deflects it, tips it right into the air, and then Mahomes had to recover and like get a hand up to get it away from two defenders there. And
Well,
that was later on in the game too. Like, yeah, those to me were the two best teams I watched this week.
no, I mean, they're both great. They're both in my top 10, which I have just created very
Yeah.
quickly here. Um, mine is slightly different, but a lot of the same teams overall. I will mention briefly, I'll pat myself on the back. Steelers did look a lot better than anticipated. They aren't in my top 10, but if the offense did look a little bit better and more controlled and refined, they definitely would have been just because that defense is unbelievable.
If they would have scored a
So,
touchdown.
yeah, if they would have scored a touchdown, they're number 10.
Again, only team in the NFC North with a win right now, but also
And
the
no
only team in the
touchdowns.
NFC North to not score a touchdown.
Yeah, the Steelers are great with not scoring touchdowns and winning. They're actually the best team in the NFL since in the last 17 years to do so. It's a weird stat. They're the best
It's
at it.
Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's a great
Yeah,
underdog coach too. Like he's the
yeah,
best, I think, at least active coach of like being an underdog against the spread. He's insane.
yeah.
It's
And
like
the fact
seventy
that
percent of the games.
yeah, and he's never won a NFL Coach of the Year. It's just still crazy to me. But we're not here to talk about that. My top 10. I have the Cowboys at 10. They just dominated a team that's supposed to be good. Like absolutely dominated. And the Browns defense isn't bad, but they made them look abysmal throughout the game. Miles Garrett was a non-factor throughout, and the fact that they were able to do that with a not so great offensive line is hilarious. So Cowboys are better than I anticipated them being, at least week one wise. They look very good, and if they can keep that humming now that their two best players on offense have contracts, we'll see. We'll see. I'm curious to see how them and the Eagles stack up here in the next couple of weeks when they play, but that'll be a
Yeah,
fun
that'll be a
game.
fun game.
Nine, I have the Rams. Uh, they couldn't get it done in overtime, and by that I mean they didn't touch the ball. But with injuries and stuff, I have to knock them down. I'm curious to see how they come through these next couple weeks. They definitely don't have an easy schedule, so if they can come out with a couple wins, I'll be happy for them. Uh, Eight, I have the Dolphins. I got to see I'm not wearing my glasses here. Uh, they look great. I'm happy with how they played. I think this game on Thursday, if they're somehow able to beat the Bills, which I think there's a good chance at home, Bills moving on the road, if they can have a game plan for Josh Allen, they can definitely win that, and they'll definitely jump up my rankings a bit more. But until I see it, I'm not going to move. Tua, I love him. I want to keep seeing improvement, seeing that offense buzz around him. That's important to me. Seven, I have the Texans. I mean, we just talked about them. Offense is just so good. Defense improved over the offseason. They showed that this weekend. And I think with a couple more games, they'll really be coming along. Six, this is where we differ heavily. I have the Ravens at six. Um,
That's fair.
they're definitely a very good team. They drew a tough week one schedule. I want to see the offense work better together before I bump them up to number two on my list. Their
I'll allow
offensive
it.
line has, yeah, offensive line has too many questions for me to have them that high. But I think they're still a very good team. Lamar's a good quarterback, and I think they're still going to do well throughout the season. Obviously, they're my highest 0-1 team, so I think that I don't think there's a lot of issues there. Five, I have the Eagles. They're just good all around the ball. They're going to be good. I'm excited to see them become more cohesive again. Saquon in that offense just proved to be a difference maker. He was the best player on that field when he was on there, which is impressive with how good their offense is. Four, I also have the Bills. Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and this game against the Dolphins on Thursday is going to be amazing. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I feel like you and I might
Uh,
be the only two that are still really high on the Bills outside of the
uh,
Great Lakes area,
I mean,
outside of the Niagara Falls area.
it's us and Kyle Brandt, baby.
That's
I love
fair.
it,
That's fair. And I've like, I mean, you know this. Like, I've been very critical of Josh Allen, but there's just something about this year that I do like it a
dude.
lot.
I'm telling you, I almost wish I would have plugged all my picks in we made last week into like a betting system. I don't bet, but man,
A
I just
betting
feel strong.
system.
I don't know, man. I just feel really good about them one weekend.
Yeah.
Um, I'll just rack these off real quick because we know the teams. I have Niners at three, Lions at two, Chiefs at one. Those were the three best teams I saw this weekend by far. Niners continue to just be the most cohesive team and the most well coached team outside of the Chiefs in the NFL. Lions might have the deepest roster, and the Chiefs are just the best coached team outside of and have the best player in the NFL. It's hard not to put them number one when they go out and they just beat up on a high power offense like the Ravens.
And showed off new
So
toys too with Worthy. Like that was the other thing. It was
yeah,
like
it's just
it's almost like they were
ridiculous.
taunting the whole league.
You
Was
just run
like,
an end
look at
around
what
20 yards out. It's unbelievable.
yeah, and the fact that the Bills the Bills traded with them and
It's comical, dude. It's
that's the pick. And it
comical.
was also again, it goes back to who the Chiefs traded with to get Patrick Mahomes?
There's the Bills, yeah.
It was the Bills.
It's just
Like
it all comes back. Yeah, I know, dude.
yeah,
It's
and I feel
hilarious.
like it like them not being able to beat the Chiefs in big games is almost like punishment for doing that. But yeah,
Yeah,
the Chiefs are just they're on a different level right now.
yeah.
It's not fun.
No, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
curious now to see how this changes in a week. See how we update our rankings, how we view these teams week in and week out. So I'm excited to really talk about this segment. I
Yeah.
hope to not forget about it. This was a last minute addition tonight, so I apologize for my tardiness.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we kind of decided to do that this morning, but and also
But
too with these top tens, it's not. This is not your power rankings. We are not just looking at
yeah,
records. This is, you know, there's layers to
coach.
this. This is
Yeah,
things that we like. It's
yeah,
yes, it's
it
visual and
runs
it's
deeper. Yeah,
yes, and it's honest as proven by the fact that I have Houston at 6 and I
and
don't
you
have the
have the
Jags in
Ravens
this.
at you have the Ravens at two.
It's a give and take kind of thing here. Again, in my eyes, those were the two best teams that I saw, and I'll
Yeah,
stand on that one there.
that's
The
fine. That's
Lions got a little
fine.
too cute for me. San Fran, I don't really
Hey,
know what to make of it
you
because
don't have to
again,
defend it. I'm not
again,
judging
and
anybody.
I even said too, I might be underselling San Fran a little bit right now, but whatever. Hey, this is
Yeah,
our shut up. All right. I think that's all we needed to cover for today.
yes, yeah.
On Thursday we'll get out our week 2 preview. We'll get the fantasy stuff and gambling in on that
The
as well.
degenerates. Yeah,
Yep. For all the all the other degenerates just like us. I don't know. We'll see how long that takes to kind of go through week 2, and maybe we come up with some other fun little things to
Fun
throw in
stuff.
there.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited. You got
awesome.
anything else for me today?
No, I think that is all I
Awesome.
had to get out of my head.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right.
Good work.
We'll see
Enjoy
you
your
guys back
vacation.
here. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see you guys back here in 2 days. Oh, did you call it?
Yeah, in 2 days.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We'll
Oh,
see you guys back
yeah,
here
we're
in
so.
2 days. And we'll have a good time.
Oh yeah. All right.